Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk About Labor. This podcast is designed to help farmers and agricultural businesses connect and learn from each other, specifically about the labor challenges they face and the strategies they have used to overcome them. Each episode explores a range of topics, including U.S. temporary foreign visa programs, mechanization and automation, and worker recruitment and retention, among others. This podcast is made possible through the collaboration of several organizations: the Southern Risk Management Education Center, GAP Connections, the USDA Specialty Crop Research Initiative, the Tennessee Department of Labor and Workforce Development, and the University of Florida's Farm Labor Supervisor Certification Program. And of course, we couldn't do this without the valuable participation of growers and ag business owners. I'm Margarita Velandia, a professor in the Department of Agricultural and Resource Economics at the University of Tennessee. Alicia?
My name is Alicia Areen, and I'm an associate professor in the Department of Agricultural and Resource Economics.
So today we're excited to welcome our guest, Abby Stanley-Jerrolds, retail manager at Stanley's Greenhouse, and Holden Jerrolds, who heads the Stanley's growing and production efforts. We're looking forward to learning from your experiences, and we're very excited to have you in this episode.
Okay, to start off, Abby and Holden, could you tell us a bit about the business? How long have you been in business? Can you give us a brief overview of Stanley's Greenhouse and the scale of your operations, and tell us a little about the plants you grow on the plant farm and how this business is integrated with your garden center? Also, tell us how many employees you have and what type of workers are on your team, whether they're domestic or migrants.
All right. Stanley's has a long history. So we started off as an agricultural farm, mainly wheat producer. Hundreds of years ago, before Tennessee was a state, it was actually the Davenport farm at that time. We were one of the largest wheat producers in the state and had a lot more property than we do now, and things have just kind of gotten sold off over time. Things came down the line and changed a bit. My grandfather, my great-grandmother had married a Stanley, so then it became a Stanley line, and my grandfather was the first generation of that. They mainly, as Knoxville grew, they started doing vegetables and other edible crops, and they would grow them and take them down to the Market Square Farmers Market and sell them. Over time, he started seeing that market was pretty saturated. So he, as Knoxville grew again, there was starting to be a need for floral products. So he started growing flowers in the fields, and we would sell them cut to different florists. And then again, over time, we just started transitioning to growing in-house as things grew. And he realized it was a lot easier than growing in the field. We credit our start date to 1955 because that is when we think we built our first structure, although we're not really sure because there aren't, written records. So that's what we say, but we've been a farm for over 200 years. The home place on the site is pre-Civil War. So we've got a lot of history here, and we're really proud of that. As far as the plants that we grow now, the majority, and Holden could say, but the majority is annuals. That's our biggest market, and that's our biggest production side. We grow pretty much all of our perennials and have been aggressively increasing that over the past couple of years as the need for that has grown. And we're trying to grow more shrubs and trees as space allows, and time also. But yeah, pretty much the only thing that we don't grow much of are tropical plants. But we're, again, also trying to do more of that over the next couple years as well. Let's see, as far as As far as our employees are concerned, they're pretty much all domestic.
Yeah.
We don't have any migrant workers. That's not because we are against that, but we just haven't really had any migrant workers apply or reach out or anything.
No, we don't do any
like
H2A or anything like that. So, and I think a big thing with that, we reach locally. That's kind of our way to give back, I think, sometimes. So that's kind of how we think about it to our local people here. So, yeah, we have 35 employees now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So
those are a lot of employees, right?
Yeah, most of them are on our retail side. We only have 9 employees on the production side now, but most of them are on the retail side.
Excellent. I think you guys have a very long and interesting story of how the business started, right? And still 35 employees. It's a substantial amount of workers you have to deal with, mainly you said on the retail side. So since you're an integrated business and you have the production and retail, tell us a little bit about the different labor needs for each segment of the business and the differences in labor challenges you faced in the production and in the retail side.
Yeah, it is very interesting. So we're in such a niche situation, and I am the one that hires, and so I interview people all the time, and I basically tell them, pretty much we get all the applicants that I get have no experience. And that's fine with me. I'd rather you come from at least from a retail side of things. I'd rather you come from a place of not knowing plants and knowing how to converse with people and having customer service experience. I think that is definitely more valuable. My mom taught me from a young age that you can teach people plants, but you can't teach people. So that's what I lead with when it comes to retail and customer service. If they seem like they're happy and excited about the industry and just talking to people and
Learning,
being personable and willing to learn, then I think that's a go. It's definitely different for Holden in the production side. I try to look for people that, plain and simple, are just going to be hard workers. Yeah. and that are willing to, and that are just go-getters and don't want to sit still and are like, let's do it. And that are interested, obviously, in that side of things, because it's definitely more, it's definitely different.
The production side's a physical job a lot of the times, so it's requires a little bit more being able to deal with the heat, carrying heavy things, walking a lot, being uncomfortable. But I mean, there's give and takes with that too, compared to the retail side. Like you have to be a little bit more fluid with the hours, because you're probably not going to work, just Monday through Friday. It might be broken up differently. But on the production side of things, we work, 7 to 3:30 Monday through Friday, except in springtime when we're really, really busy. We usually work about 7 days a week. But then we're able to take a little bit more time and rest during our slower seasons. But that does play into who you can have work for you, who's willing to work down there. You're never doing the same thing every single day. So you do have to be willing and able to learn many different tasks. Sometimes it's like a factory, and then sometimes you're rebuilding a greenhouse, or you're digging trenches out in the field and replumbing and HVAC and all sorts of stuff. So you have to be kind of a jack of all trades down in production. And it's not necessarily like that very much in the retail center.
It doesn't always work out.
It doesn't always work out.
But for people that it does, it does. So
And before Alicia goes to her next question, so I guess the challenges there are different. I mean, let me rephrase what you said, Abby. On your side, is like as long even if you don't have experience with plants, as long as you have that customer service experience, that's already valuable, right?
Right.
On the production side, I guess, let me ask you something, Holden. Is it more difficult to attract and retain workers given that the job is a little bit more physical and intense and the conditions are different because you have to deal with the weather elements like the heat and being up and so on and so forth? Is there a difference on like is it more challenging to attract and retain workers on the production side than on the retail side?
I would have thought so coming into this, but honestly, like all of my workers are amazing. I have everybody that I have down production in here now has been here for 2 years or longer, which really surprised me. I have had a few times where people come in and they only last a day or two, but that's really rare.
Yeah.
I think since we're not around customers as much, I think we kind of build our own little culture down
It's like
there,
a family.
and we're a lot more tightly knit. So, yeah, everybody I have, thank goodness, has stayed around, and I've worked a physical job my entire life, so I try my best to make sure they're rested and take breaks and everything that they need to. So, but yeah, I would have thought it would have been a lot harder. I've just been really lucky to have really good workers that have stuck around for me.
Yeah, and the turnovers, yeah, definitely higher in the retail side of things, but the production people are paid more because the job is more intense.
For sure.
So that probably helps.
That probably does.
That makes sense. And so Alicia will transition in. I think it's a very good start to the next question, right, Alicia?
Oh, I agree. This is fascinating. So let's shift to solutions. What specific strategies have you implemented to address labor challenges you have faced over time? And please walk us through them one by one and explain how they worked or did not work for you.
I think the biggest thing that we're able to do that incentivizes our workers is we do seasonal bonuses. So that's kind of our way to be able to give back directly to our employees for how well we've had a season. And we kind of do that based off of how much you work, how hard you work, and then we record all that and we kind of go over it before bonuses. And, we can really incentivize our workers based off of that. And that's a really good thing to keep people around. So that's probably something we've done the longest that has helped keep people right here, really.
Yeah, we don't really have like cut and dry strategies. That is probably the best. I think, to be honest, the money is a thing, and that's where oftentimes we fall short. But I think that we have such a beautiful culture here. For risk of sounding cheesy, it is a family, and I think of everyone as a family regardless of if they're blood or not, and we really care about our employees, and we do little things that, like, we celebrate birthdays. Occasionally we'll have cookouts and stuff, and it's just like a really positive environment. Everybody gets along, and we just try to cultivate that. And so sometimes I feel like if we fall short on the money side, if you're happy going to work every day, and we're grateful that we're already in such an environment where, like, working with plants is like generally happier than I feel like most jobs. And the customers are generally happier than most places that you work. So I think some things were a little bit already built in for just being easier to keep people around. But yeah.
I know one big one for my employees. It's a little harder on the retail front, but my employees everybody has lives outside of work, and sometimes businesses don't really seem to notice that. So I always try to be super understanding when people need time off. It could just be anything, and we're usually able to work around that. And I always try to, if somebody needs a doctor's appointment or just wants to take a day off with their kids or whatever, just trying to be understanding with them about that. And they really do appreciate that. And that goes a really long way for people staying around and building trust with their employer. Um, and knowing that like they're not usually just trying to skip work. They actually have lives outside of work, even though sometimes it doesn't feel like it.
Yes.
For us, for sure. But that's very important to my employees directly in the production side of things is being understanding with them on how much we all have lives outside of this. So that really helps me out.
That's wonderful. So, like, just to summarize a couple of the things that you guys are saying, it's a culture, right? It's like if the work environment is nice and you're more likely to stay, enjoy what you're doing, and then being understanding of like the balance between life and work. So those are two things that are key aside from the bonuses that of course they help, not hurt, right? I mean, the money side of things help, but also keeping a good working environment. Um, now, so let's end the episode with I know we learned a lot from both successes and failures. So, could you share a story, whether it's a win or a setback, that taught you something important about managing labor on your operation?
A hard one that's I know for me, definitely when you get into leadership, it's really easy to count on friends that you know. And that can be really dangerous in a business arena. So just being very careful with that. I've had a couple instances where people I thought I could trust that were really close to me kind of fell short personally, and that affected work side of things. So for me, that is something that I am very careful about now. Separating your personal relationships as much as possible. And that's funny coming from me, considering my wife and I work together. But that is something you do have to really watch. When you do have some type of influence in a business, it's really easy just to hand out, positions or jobs to people just because you're friends. But that is that can be very dangerous in a business sense.
Yeah, that's a hard lesson to learn, right, Holden?
It is a very hard
been in
lesson.
I've been in that position too. How about you, Avi?
I don't know that I have much to add as far as like a failure or a success, but I think what I've learned when it comes to dealing with employees is just communication, and also we've kind of. My parents grew up when things were very family oriented, and it was a little bit more, for lack of a better term, like a good old boy system. Like, oh, he's been around for 20 years, so, they can just do whatever they want. And when my husband and I came in, we kind of changed things. So, to try to like have actual boundaries and if there's a rule, don't break it. And things were a little bit more too lenient there for a while, and we had to kind of like pull the reins in and just establish that this is a business as the main priority. Having fun is good and well, but we need to take care of business first. And so that was a little tricky there for a bit, but we got through it, and some people stayed and some people left. And we just kind of like established our leadership roles, and then everything just kind of fell into place. So yeah, I guess, I don't know, that's been a success. And I just communicate with my employees all the time. If they have needs, tell me your needs. If they have, complaints, tell me your complaints. We just try to be very open.
Well, thank you both, Abby and Holden, for taking the time to talk to us. You have shared with us very valuable insights that anybody in the ag business side and non-ag business side could actually learn from. We appreciate your time and perspective. Thank you both.
Thank you.